Okay, so welcome to Flutter application tutorial. So in this tutorial, I'm going to start from right in the beginning. So I'm going to start a new application from a splash screen, login screen, registration screen to the main screen. So I'm going to have this what we call as a semi-complete application, which can describe an application flow. So I'm going to start with this application that come into my mind. It is basically based from our discussion before. I'm thinking of building application for bike touring. Because I did talk about this before, where when you want to build application, when you want to build an application, you need to make sure that there's a number of reasons why you want to build that application. So either it's based on the customer demand, it's based on the market survey, or based on your own interest. It can came from any methods of determining what type of application that you would like to build. So in this case, because this is just for our class purposes, so I'm going to build this application for today's class. So I try to limit this class 1 hour plus plus. So the application basically based on one of my interests, which is bicycle touring. So the first thing that you need to do is now, so I'm going to put just a simple note, your application name. All right, so how do we get application name? So there are multiple ways. So the idea for this application is that I wanted to have application that can basically for the bicycle or for the people who have interest in bicycle touring, would like to do touring using their bicycle, and this application is a community type application which allow people to join, to contribute, or even allow them to sell their gear, use gear through this application. So the application name, so even though there's a lot of application out there, so the idea here is I wanted to come out with cycling. Just try to get keywords here, cycling and touring. So these are two keywords that I'm thinking of. So you can use as a lot of tools available online. If you don't have that you want to come out with what we call as a catchy name. So one of the application that you can use is called business name generator. So the business name generator basically actually quite good in terms of coming out with an application name. So for example, if I enter cycling and touring as my keyword, so if I press generate here, it basically come out with a number of suggestion, and even you can apply for domain name from here. So based on this, you can see that like, for example, cycling lia, or something like touring win, cycling ops, touring logs, or one that I'm quite interesting with it, TouringHolic, right? So it seems like a good name for the application, but it depends on your business idea. So I'm going to go with TouringHolic. Okay, so for those people or touring mania or touring, but this is quite easy because they already check with the domain name which is available that you can use, TouringHolic. seems to be okay. TouringHolic.co.uk, TouringHolic.com also available. So TouringHolic seems to fit the idea. So now the first thing that you need to come out is the application name. So my application name called TouringHolic. And the second things that you need to come out is your application logo. Application logo. Alright, so this application logo basically can comes from the you can use logo generator, okay, because of course you need um, there's a number of tools available online that you can try. So this one comes from Adobe, but you can try different. Tailor also okay. Brand, sometimes they give it for free to generate, but yeah, give it a try. Any TouringHolic, if you're good in designing logo, designing, it should be easy for you to build this. So for example, like this one, touring is one. I need to include cycling or touring cycling. Okay, so you can choose from a number of options here, which is that this is quite nice also, touring cycling, and this is mountain biking. It seems to be okay. You can choose any of the logo here. All right, and of course you need to you might need to pay for the service, and just for the sake of this application, I'm not quite sure if you can edit. Okay, so this is basically one of the way that you can design, or you can use the tools available to build your brand. And of course you can always pay for these services, but of course I'm not going to pay for this. This is just for the class. So I'm going to let's say that I'm going to take I'm going to use, this is not cheating, but just but you have to pay for this. If you like it, it's better for you to pay. But I'm doing for tutorial, so um, I'm going to take, for example, like this one, and then I'm going to move on to the Photoshop and do some manipulation. All right, or you can do your own editing. You can open up example, or you can download example from the internet, and you can do some editing. And then yeah, this is just an example, okay, for learning purposes. I did download this from somewhere from the internet, and I do some modification to it. But you have good with design, you should be able to come out with good application logo. Alright, so I'm going to go with this, and the color for this is red and black. So this basically going to more or less later on going to be your application theme. So you'll see from there. Alright, so this is basically the logo that I'm going to choose, Adventure TouringHolic. So the name of the application. So I'm going to save this. So I'm going to put stop by touring, and I need to convert this to PNG. All right, so you can choose, I choose PNG by touring.png. I'm going to use the name, or we call it TouringHolic.png. Right, so close, and you should be able to get this TouringHolic. All right, so yeah, this depends on your own creativity. So now you have your application logo. Okay, so done. Now number 3, create new application. So the name of our application is TouringHolic. So your package name should in the following structure: com.company name, So in my case, I use my domain, Selamaja, the application name, TouringHolic. Alright, so this is going to be my package name. Alright, so once you have your package name, now create new project. This one is the package name. Create application package name. So we do have the package name now, and with the package name, I'm going to create new Flutter project. Alright, so to create project name, to create new Flutter project with the package name, it is better to use your terminal, or you can use in your Visual Studio Code also. Same basically through the terminal access down here. So this is the terminal, this is the shell that you can use. So you can create from here. But at the moment, the current directory for this project is in the toast example, because we are in the toast example project. So if you want to go to, or you want to enter, or you want to back directory, you just enter cd ... And then now you can give the following instruction: flutter create org com dot. So we have the package name, the organization name, and then the package name. So TouringHolic, right? So TouringHolic. There you go. All right. So flutter create --org com dot Selamaja. This is the organization name, and TouringHolic is the application name. So that is basically the instruction. Just press enter, and you should be able to see the following terminal output. So now the folder is ready. So if you go to the folder, let's say if you go to the folder inside my document, and also 202 2044, sorry, not there, inside my GitHub, Flutter 202, TouringHolic, you can see that there's a new folder called TouringHolic. And now you can just open the folder, go to the TouringHolic, and select folder to open the project. Alright, so you have to wait for a while for the Flutter to ready your workspace. Alright, so because I already installed tab 9 here, so that's why it takes some time to initialize tab 9. So if you don't have tab 9, should be no problem. So now you can see that the default code provided by Flutter, basically the Flutter demo homepage. So normally I don't start with the demo homepage. Again, I'm using the main. I always start with main app, and then always when you first start to create new Flutter project, always test the project first. So press F5 and wait for the project to launch the layout. Alright, so now our application is ready. So we're basically going to start with the first layout. So in this example, in this application tutorial, I'm not going to use any architecture. So this is just a quick prototyping. We just build application and basically allow us to demo the application later, or to have just a quick application. Okay, you can use architecture such as the MVC, the model view controller, but here, since the application that I'm going to use here, just everything run based on set state. So each of the layout will update their own state. and I don't think that there's a need to have the structure. All right. So we're going to start with splash screen. So normally in splash screen, we're going to have what we call as a simple splash screen that basically will display the application logo. All right. So for example, like when you run Facebook application, you see the blue screen right in the middle with the Facebook logo. So that is basically what we're going to do. So normally for the splash screen, we don't have the app bar. So we're going to remove app bar so that it will left without app bar. So then what we need now is an image. So we do have an image. We already have the image now. So the image that I'm going to put here is I'm going to create one folder in this application. So the folder name is assets, and inside asset I'm going to have, where's my asset here? Is it inside here? No, this is not asset. Create folder, not file, folder, not inside lib but outside. So create folder called assets, and inside asset I'm going to create a folder, another folder called images. So I'm going to store my image inside here. So reveal file explorer. So I'm going to copy the image that I created called TouringHolic. Oops, sorry, it should be inside this folder. All right. So now you have yourself an image called TouringHolic. So what I'm going to do now to display this image right in the middle of the layout, which is going to close this, which is right here. All right, so to do that, what we need is, one thing is that to put an image asset inside here, and also we need a progress indicator. Right, I like having progress indicator just for fun, but if you don't want that, actually you don't have to. You can just skip and display the, either if you want to go to the login screen, or if you want to remove the login wall, you can just go straight to the main screen. All right, so normally when in any application, you're going to end up with the following so-called a standard screen. So you have your splash screen, login screen, registration screen, main screen, and then some other screens. So normally either you want to force login, or you want to skip login, allow user to enter to the main screen without having to register or having to log in, which it is a good idea, because login wall is one of the not problem, but sometimes user they would like to feel first or use the application first, and then see if they would like to register or not, because when they register, they need to provide with their credential, their emails and whatnot. So sometimes people are reluctant to provide that information. So you provide certain features for free, and then it is a free application, but you might need to think a way later how to charge people. All right, even Facebook is a free application, but they force user to log in because they have the what we call as strong point for user to log in. But for your application, if you like to attract user, you want to get user base first, you provide your application for free. But for now, our application we're going to end up with our splash screen, login screen, and later registration screen. All right, so next I'm going to enable my image. So enable through your asset. So you need to enable your assets first, and then make sure that in my case assets slash images. So I'm going to enable that and make sure there's no error. So you can look through Flutter here and make sure that it return exit 0, means that your pub spec YAML, there's no problem with your pub spec YAML. All right, then what you need to do now is to update your widget, your layout. So since I'm going to have two widgets, so which means that I need to have a column, right? So I'm going to have a column inside here instead of that. So for a column, you need children, and then we can use image assets, and then we can declare our asset slash images slash TouringHolic.png. All right, so we can just try to scale first. Look at the scale. Let's start with 1 first and see the result. All right, so if you save, it should hot reload, but the problem is that the asset is not yet in the in the application. So you need either, if you can restart, or you need to reinstall, right? So you need to reinstall. So if you, yeah, so now you have your, I believe I need to do some modification towards my image, because the image here, the background here is supposed to be what we call as transparent. So let me pause that first. All right, so just a quick update. So now it should look okay. So you have your image here, but then of course I need my image to be right in the middle of the screen. I'm going to look at options, for example, like the column main axis alignment and set to center. That should allow you to set the image right in the middle. So if you think that the image is quite big, maybe we can just scale this down a little bit to 0.8. Okay, that is 0.8. Maybe we can just make it a little bit smaller, let's try with 0.5. No, it didn't change anything at all. So yeah, maybe we can just do some padding with the padding. Okay, you can just give it a try. 0.5. It didn't change anything much. Or you can wrap your widget in a container. If you're unable to control the size of the image, you should be able to control the size of the image. But yeah, if you're unable to do that, so we can just wrap with a container, and then set the what we call as the margin for the container itself with each inset dot all. Maybe we can set to container set margin each insets all, let's say set to 20. make it higher, maybe 80. Let's see the size, it's quite small, so maybe we go to 50 pixel, just about right. All right, so now we do have the application logo. So if you like to have if you don't want to have any animation, we can just go straight from here, and then we can do a timer, and then it will go to the next layout. Okay, so now you have your image logo right in the middle of the screen. So what we need now is for this screen to expire and move to another screen or to another layout. Alright, so what we need now is to enable what we call as a timer, and this timer basically allow for the screen to retire and move to another screen. So I'm going to do small modification to this script. I'm going to create one stateful widget down here, and I'm going to call here splash screen class. Alright, so this is the class now. So for this splash screen class, it will basically implement the widget that I built up here. So I'm going to take from scaffold to here, and I'm going to replace the container here and put it over there. So to call home from the stateless widget here, to call this class, basically just take the class, and that's it. So now what we have is a stateless widget with home of a stateful widget. So what we need, why do we need this stateful widget, is that we need an override method called initState, which is available in the stateful widget, right? So I'm going, because I just added new class here, so I'm going to restart, I'm going to save and restart our application and make sure that we still get the same layout. All right, so seems that everything is working now. So we need the following method. So this method basically call an override method. So I'm going to call as an override method. It's basically called void one of the Flutter application lifecycle init state method. So for this init state, it needs a superclass init state, and inside here we can implement what we call as a timer, and this timer basically allow us to expire the splash screen layout. Okay, so what I need now is for this screen to move to another screen and expire this layout. So I have to create, I'm going to create another layout. So new file, and I'm going to call this login screen dot. Okay, so inside here I'm going to create main app, and I'm going to change because we no longer need this main method, so I'm going to change my app to login screen. All right, so this just to label login screen, and I'm going to update main, and actually I can just change this to splash screen dot, but I need to update a few things, which is the widget order. I'm not going to do that just yet. So now I can update my main dot, the init state method with the what we call as a timer. All right, so this timer basically is a library from .async, and we're going to set the duration for the timer with, let's say, 3 seconds. All right, so for the duration of 3 seconds, and then we need to add the operation. So the operation here is we wanted this to execute the following. So the following instruction that we like for the timer to execute is we want it to navigate navigator dot push replacement, which is we wanted this to go to the material page route with builder using the current contact, and execute go to the login screen. Okay, so you need to import the login screen, so you can just click this, and then you'll see that you are able to import the login screen, and you rearrange your code. Right, so now we have a timer that allow us to expire this layout and go to the login screen within 3 seconds. So I'm going to save this. So if you don't see any changes or you don't see your login screen, so you might need to restart. Alright, so in 3 seconds it should go to your login screen. Alright, so that is just a simple splash screen, and it basically allow you to just create this branding for your application. Alright, so this is basically a brand for your application, and it allow your application to establish image. Alright, so this is basically the first step in our application development, to have our login, to have our splash screen. So in the next topic, in the next class, I'm going to talk about our login screen. I'm going to create login screen form, and the login screen form allow us to accept input from user, their username and password, and we're going to have a button, and also the checkbox that allow for the username and password to be remembered, and also link to register new account, and also forgot new account. Alright, so I'm not going to, so that basically going to be in the second section. So I'm going to stop here now. So see you in the next section, or in the next tutorial for this application called TouringHolic. Alright.